The following is a Candlepin Stars and Strikes rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable programs.
TV50 Sports and the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association present Candlepin Stars and Strikes. From Sandy's bowling lanes in Wyndham, featuring the best Candlepin bowlers from around New England.
Gonna split it. Look at this.
Yes! Wow! Right in the pocket. Oh, there was never a doubt about that one.
Good looking ball.
Yeah.
Now your host for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Sandy's Bowling Lanes in Wyndham for Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We are in week number 3 of this Ladder Championship Series, a series that so far has been dominated by Pat Pay.
Mr. Pay averaged 145 the last few weeks, and we figured out his average on all the appearances, and it's like 137 or 138. So he's sizzling. So that means if he goes on his average, it's going to take a 400 to beat him.
Well, that's going to be a pretty tall order for, in this case, John Burke, who finished third in this ladder series with that 652 roll-off score, the number 3 seed coming in, making his first appearance on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And let's get a look at John in slow motion from Newmarket, New Hampshire.
Newmarket, know John real well. Excellent Candlepin bowler. He doesn't have the real high average, but he's capable, as you saw in the roll-off score, of throwing that big string at you. So he knows. He was here last week to see Pat Pay throw the 460, so he knows what it's all about. He knows how good a Pat Pay is. He's going to have to go out and beat him.
John carries an average of a 117 with a high single of 197, and of course that's 652 in the roll-off to get here as the number 3 seed on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. But what else can we say about Pat Pay that we haven't said already? He's made 6 previous appearances. He is 5-1, and he's won the last 2 weeks in a row.
I gave him a few more pins that he hit last week. It was 446 last week, and he's just sizzling. He's thrown a lot of strikes, as you see. He did there in the warm-up. I mean, it's catching. I wouldn't want to be bowling against him right now.
Well, we have Pat Pay and we have John Burke just about ready to go. String number 1, Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Stick around. We have $170 in the bonus ball contest coming up at the end of the show. Hope you have your postcards in. We'll be back to start the match right after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Set to go in his first appearance on Candlepin Stars and Strikes, John Burke from Newmarket. John throws that camouflage ball, the white ball. It's tough to see against the pins.
The white ghost.
The unusual thing about John's delivery that you can pick up here is the stand-up style.
Right. Doesn't bend too much at the waist. Kind of right up straight when he releases the ball. The ball breaks from right to left. Thin hit there, leaves a cluster of 5 in the corner. 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8.
Just off target on the 2-pin.
Pair of 9s.
And now Pat Pay. And to say that Pat has been hot would be an understatement. 2 weeks ago, a 416 to beat Rick Kojecki, thanks largely to a triple strike in the 3rd string. He threw a 177 3rd string, coming from behind to win that match. And then followed that up with a 446 last week, throwing strings of 158, 159, and 129, and there is another strike.
And that's why. It's safe to say that Pat Pay makes his opponents pay.
I guess you could say that. I'm awfully sorry you did, but I guess you could say that.
Okay, now John, right away I can see John's going to have to make an adjustment. He's trying to make that ball break from right to left, and there's just so much lane dressing on these lanes that he really has to turn the ball over to make it do what it normally does.
This is what happened to Bob Mazur last week. John doesn't want it to happen to him. He was here and saw it. Bob Mazur went the first 7 boxes last week without a mark, and by the time he got a mark, he was 25 pins behind.
And again, he's got a rough start here. The 3, 6, and 10. Tried to split the 3 and the 6 and remove just the 6. Try for the 4 and the 7 and gets the 7. So, slow start for John Burke. Something you don't want to do with the likes of Pat Pay.
And Pat will shoot at the 3-4.
3-4 with a piece of wood against that 3-pin. Looks like it's in good an angle. Oh, he's capped. Oh, he got away with it. He threw his hands up. He knew he had missed a shot, or at least where he wanted to place the ball, which would sweep the wood across. Capped it, ball bounced off the cap of the wood to clear out the 4-pin.
How many times you see that happen? You make a shot you perhaps shouldn't have made, and then you get burned on the fill.
Oh, right in between the 3 and the 6. Nice try by Pat.
Right on that 3-pin for a 10 and a 19-pin lead. Let me remind you right here, while we have a second, that 2 weeks from today, which will be the Ladder Championship show on January 18th, because of special programming, Candlepin Stars and Strikes will be aired 1 hour earlier at 11 a.m. So mark that down on your viewing calendar. January 18th, 2 weeks from today, the Ladder Championship match will air at 11 a.m. instead of noon. We'll remind you a few more times this week and next week, so that make sure you see that Ladder Championship show in 2 weeks. And then, of course, 3 weeks from today, January 25th, starts the John Grapponi Ford Championship. Extra prize money. Charlie Finley from John Grapponi Ford will be joining us here on the program, and we're also going to have another special treat during the John Grapponi Ford Championship as John Burke gets his first mark of the match.
Tough shot it was, too. Just was able to push that ball right straight back to the 5, 8, and 9. I'd also like to make sure we know that next week is a... Oh! Mercy. Woo, that was quick. Next Sunday we'll be taping again. So if you're in the area, stop by and say hello.
We start at about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning and go all day. So we'll be here next Sunday at Sandy's on Route 28 in Wyndham. We'd love to see you.
That's interesting. Pat has had this shot twice in a row now. 2, 4, 7, 3, and a 6. There's 2 schools of thought of which side you go to, and he must be more comfortable trying the left-hand side. I personally would try the 3 and 6. The reason is that if I don't cut the 3 sharp enough to carry the 2-pin or the 4, I might clip the 7, and who knows, after it clips the 7 it could come forward, but Pat's elected to go both times 3 into the 2 instead of the 2 into the 3.
Well, John got a nice break there on his fill as he kicked out the 5 and the 10, leaving himself with a triangle leave.
4, 7, and 8.
Got it.
See the replay. Perfectly done.
Mention we have another special treat in store during that John Grapponi Ford Championship. The folks from John Grapponi are going to be bringing with them a radar gun. And we're going to have a little fun with that.
Yeah, we did a little bit several weeks ago up in Concord with the radar gun, and I won't let it out of the bag. We won't talk about what speeds the bowlers were throwing, but just keep it in mind and come up with a possible figure to see some of these bowlers throw the ball. I think you're going to be amazed at the results. So during the John Grapponi Championship ladder, those weeks we'll be working with that radar gun. So keep it in mind, and in the meantime, just think of how hard you think these bowlers are throwing that 2.5-pound ball.
Pat Pay looking at the 1, 2, 4, just missing. Meanwhile, John Burke has quietly run off 3 consecutive spares here to pull himself almost back even.
13 pins, but he has another spare up, as you see.
And this time Pat Pay does not carry the extra pin and leaves himself the 2-6.
2-6 of wood right behind that 2-pin. If he's flush on the 2, it may jump over by coming off that pin.
Yes,
Oh,
he
what a
cut
shot.
it. He cut it. The heck with the wood.
Well, I think if we look closely, I think that wood played a part in that. Yeah, you could actually just see that wood move a little bit. So he did, with the help of the wood, he cut it, but with the help of the wood in behind that 2-pin, he was able to jump it right straight across. Nice shot by Pat.
John Burke on a spare, a little full, but they're still falling. And now it doesn't look too good, although there is wood there.
Yeah, I just got to play that piece of wood, and hopefully the wood go one way, the ball will go the other. The way he throws his ball breaking from right to left, he's hoping the ball will take that 7. Well, he missed the wood entirely. Try it again, John. Show us how it's done here. No, tough shot.
Hey, before we go any farther, did you know that today is the official start of National Bowling Week?
Well, yes. And the only reason I do is that you have mentioned it to me. National Bowling Week. Great sport of bowling. All kinds.
So take a bowler to lunch, I guess, is the message this week.
I'm available.
The spare for John Burke in the 10th. John's fitting them all in here in the bottom half of this first string. John had just 43 in the first half, but he comes back in great shape with 81 in the second half, almost doubling it, and a 124.
It's a 6 fill for Pat on his mark, a 108.
Pat Pay has been somewhat mortal in this string. Compared to recent strings here anyway. 117 with a box to go. Brooklyn hit wood everywhere, and the 6-7.
6-7, but he's got possibilities because of the wood.
There it
Nice
is.
shot. Well, he's got a 3-pin lead plus the fill on the spare.
Fifth mark for Pat. Oh, punching right through the center for the 3rd or 4th time in the string. And it's a 4 fill and a 131. So Pat will have to settle for a 7-pin lead after 1 here in Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We're back with the address for the home contest and second string action. Don't go away. Pat leading by 7 after 1, which is a pretty small lead for Pat, the way things have been going. National Bowling Week. I wonder, will there be a big parade somewhere? Or?
Somewhere, yes. Yes, I believe so. I haven't quite found out where, but I'm sure there is. In fact, our invitations are probably waiting in the mail.
I'm sure. Of course. It's got to be in Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. Hey, why didn't we think of that?
Bob McElroy, our director today, who incidentally has not been with us for a while, and we certainly want to welcome him back. And it would figure that Bob would know that, because Bob is a student of the game and keeps up on all these things.
Was he a student at Bowling Green?
Bob's looking forward to the Hall of Fame Bowl.
Hall of Fame.
His Florida State Seminoles are going to be there.
I guess you're not a real big fan of the Seminoles because they played last week.
Well, Bob was looking forward to the game.
Neither bowler seemed to be carrying those extra pins, and pins seem to be flying up and over the top, leaving the famed cluster of 5 in the corner. 3, 5, 6, 9, and 10.
John is self-employed. He operates Burke's Auto Body in Newmarket.
If we plug it real good, we can take our cars over there and fix our, they'll fix our bumpers for us.
Pat Pay leaving the 6-pin.
Looking for the first mark of the second game for either bowler, and I kind of like to shoot at those myself.
Pat's lead is just 6 in the match through completed frames.
Oh,
And this
break
time he'll
there.
get the extra pin.
Just tripped that 4-pin. Big 9 fill, 10-pin for another spare. Uh-oh,
Ooh,
just slid off.
Slipped off. Pat a little upset with himself on that one.
Yeah, I'll punish him. A little smile from Pat.
Missed it clean, decided to go get it with the wood.
You're probably saying, why didn't I do that the first time? But this is on TV. I can't have my friends see me play the wood like that. Hey, you can't be proud.
Dennis going to take care of that loose ball. Dennis Noel, our lob line judge. Carol Downey working the big scoreboard as always for us.
But Pat's bowled so well the last few weeks, but when he misses something, the one who takes the brunt of that missed shot is his poor towel. His poor towel's been sliding down on the bench here a few times. Solid 9-pin draw for John. Got to hurry. Again, playing that break, and the ball seems to be sliding a little bit for John. Hanging into the right.
Of course, John making his first appearance with us on the program, and being from over in the Seacoast area, probably has not bowled here at Sandy's that often, at least not comparatively as much as at his home lanes, which is the Bowlerama, by the way, where he originally qualified for the show.
Trying to come off the wall. Nice try. Again, slow start like he did the first string. The first string he used no marks after 5 and then threw 4 out of 5 the last 5 boxes. Pinning well.
And 40 through 4. Pat Pay with a 48 through 4. The difference is 15 right now. Pat Pay in the lead, and we're back with more on Stars and Strikes. Don't go away. Pat Pay leading by 15 and stepping up to bowl in the 5th box of the 2nd string and throwing a 9 drop, leaving the 7 pin.
And he covers that for a spare.
No problem at all with that one. Missed the last single pin he had.
Right sandwich in between, spare 9. He missed the 10 pin for a spare, came back and knocked the 7 down in 9.5. Another solid 9 pin drop.
I think it's safe to say he won't miss this one. And Pat is going to clear another ball out of the channel.
That's it.
Pat's throwing that ball so hard it's coming back at him.
That's dangerous when they start throwing them back at you. Well, you know what happens when bowlers are done making the show. They become lob line judges and move up from lob line judges to be, guest commentator, and then they get to host a show, Doug. So you've come all the way up the ladder.
No, not all the way up the ladder. If I was all the way up the ladder, I'd be directing.
You're directing out in the truck? Oh, okay. Bob McIlroy, then. He must have been.
Bob's a bowler from way back. He's
all the way from Bowling Green.
Yeah, he's worked his way up through the ranks.
Right up to the remote truck, Channel 50. That's amazing. He's brilliant career.
Is that enough? Did he get his money's worth? Is that enough?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's buying us lunch for all that. $4-7 for another spare for John. He's on it.
Pat Pay working on a spare. 2 clutch spares there by John Burke, as Pat had already thrown up 2. And
each time it looks like Pat's going to run away and hide. John comes back with his own marks, and keeping it close.
Pat works for Seacoast Beauty Supply. I'm sorry. He works for the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard.
Close.
Almost the same.
Almost the same. I think the shipyard workers around there are way over here, Doug.
Oh, boy. He's never going to hear the end of that one now. Boy, oh, boy. Oh, my.
I'm gone for the rest of the show, I think, after that one, Doug.
Remind me to apologize to Pat later.
Oh, I think it's the entire Portsmouth shipyard you're going to have to apologize to.
Which is not to say anything against Seacoast Beauty Supply, but just a little contrast there, that's all. Well, 2 fill and a spare.
Came right back. He lost that first ball, left it out to the right. Only got 2 fill, but he came right back for another spare.
Well, John's going to have to show us another shot here to salvage this one.
He probably told himself, I'm not going to leave this one short. And he turned it over and came in a little full in the head pin. 3, 6, 10 with a 4, 7, and 8 over on the left. Nice try.
John has 3 children. Want to make sure we said hello to them. Debbie, Cheryl, and Johnny. And a 10 box. And now Pat Pay will step up with a chance to increase his lead, which right now stands at 18 plus a ball.
Wow. Looks a lot worse than it is, though, with that piece of wood. Couldn't play the wood, have the ball carry him off the wood for the 7. Hopefully the wood carry the other 3.
No.
Nice try.
Well, Pat is still bowling well. He's still above his average every single string. It's just not quite as spectacular as he was during that 3 or 4 string stretch when he was really piling up the big numbers. But just that little bit off, that 1/4 of an inch here or there, can really make a difference. 130 after a 131 first string. Now John Burke could use a couple of marks here to keep this relatively close.
Pat has a tendency to get stronger as we go on the match, and John can get a couple marks here and pull within a mark or so of Pat. Be a big lift to him. He's going to earn this one though. 6, 8, 9, and 10.
Be interesting to see how he plays it. If he maybe goes way down on the left side of that wood. Nope.
Going to play the 3.
Would you have tried the wood on that, perhaps?
I don't think so. I think I would have went to triangle too. Hopefully somebody come off the wall. I don't think the wood would have helped him.
That's why I'm sitting here.
That's a good-looking ball.
He almost had a very terrible leave to show for it with a 4-7-10.
That wasn't a lob. It was very close to a lob, but see what's happening. The ball is not breaking for him, so he's trying to lift the ball out onto the lane a little further. And that time it caught the pocket. Solid 9-pin drop. Nice spare.
Big one. Big one. Now he needs a big fill. That's 8 marks for John Burke in the match. All of them have been spares, and all of them have come at the end of strings. It's been cool in the early part of a string and then hot toward the end.
8 marks, and 7 of them come from the 6 box on.
122. And the totals will go up, and we're going to have a tight match going into the 3rd and final string. It'll be Pat Pay with a 261 and John Burke with a 246. And we're back with the 3rd and deciding string on Stars and Strikes right after these words. John Burke steps up to start us off in the 3rd string, and John trails by 15 in the match.
15, 2 marks, more than your opponent usually, with decent fills. 10 frames to turn it around. Kind of an auspicious start here, and it's 7-10 with had a very similar shot to this in the first game. Just try to cap the wood. Hopefully the ball goes towards 7 or 10 and the wood takes the other one.
Oh, get over there. It's not going to happen. Wow. You saw John's reaction.
Oh well, give the old college try. This wasn't in the cards. Nice try though.
Well, try his luck at the 4 horsemen this time.
I haven't seen this too much in the last few weeks. A couple times, but 1, 3, 6, and 10. And again, he's off to that slow start. Almost like a baseball pitcher. How many times have you seen him get baseball pitcher, starting pitcher gets shelled the first 3 games and gets through the third, then settles down and loses 6-5 or something. Same reason here. John's really got to get moving fast.
Well, this would be an interesting little shot for Pat Pay, the 4-5, 8-10. Yes. Make it the 5-6, 8-10. Still interesting. Yeah.
Still a nice shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Watch
look
out.
at the pin action here. Well, threw it in the pocket. He's got 6 pins down, 1 standing, I can see. That means he knocked 3 into the pit.
Pat Pay starts off with 2 marks.
2 marks and puts a lot of pressure on John. Down 15 coming into this game, and come on, 10 pin. There it goes. Good looking ball going in there. 4 pin for a spare.
He's got it. Most of the time, throw that ball on those single pins, Dan. You know, don't you, right away if you've hit it or not.
Right. Yeah. Or you know if it's going to be close.
Six fill for John. And, well, that's the problem. The 9 pin in the back. I'd like to wish one of the members of our crew, Lucy Gossel, our graphics coordinator, a happy birthday. Boy, oh boy, a birthday and it's National Bowling Week. There's going to be a heck of a party at Lucy's house this week. Wow.
Parade probably ends up at her house.
Dennis Noel going down to check that piece of wood, and much to Pat Pay's relief, it is out of play and will be removed.
And covers for a spare.
3 9 drops in a row for Pat. Not this time. Take a look before we go to the commercial break. Not much doubt there. 4 marks in a row for Pat Pay to start off this third and final string. 58 with a strike up in the 4th. John Burke at 43 through 4. And the remaining 6 boxes of the final string coming up right after these words. John Burke has got to watch out now.
Well, he's got to start putting some marks up, string them.
John's almost in a position where he needs strikes, and he hasn't thrown one yet today.
Oh, he's got to hurry. Mentioned next week's challenger will be Mike Brutzis from Manchester. He finished 2nd in the roll-off. Left-hander, hard-throwing left-hander from Manchester.
He's been with us before.
Good Candlepin bowler.
The winner of this match will move on to meet Mike next week. The runner-up today, by the way, will receive a check for $75 and a copy of Jim Fairhurst's new book, The Light Side of Candlepin Bowling, compliments of John Grapponi Ford, and also the runner-up plaque from the N&R Trophy Company. Again, if you've not been with us often during the new season since we came back on the air in October, new qualification rules this year. Each bowler is eligible for every ladder series, so that's why we've had a couple of repeat visitors, and Pat Pay just shakes his head. He had a ball already in his hand to throw, and he just just shook his head and went down and pushed the button. Didn't even hit the head pin.
Head pin next to the last one to go down, and swings around, knocks the 3-pin down for a double strike.
And that's the result, a half Worcester. Well, let's see. Nope. Carol Downey loves when those double strikes start to mount up.
She starts to panic over there. He throws her hands up now. Hey, I don't know. Hey.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
She's only got 10 fingers and 10 toes, and after that, she's in trouble.
Big lead now for Pat Pay, particularly after the double strike, but even before that, it rolled up a pretty sizable margin. It is now 57 pins. A 10-pin doing everything but going over. John will shoot at the 1-3-10. Nice shot.
Just catches that head pin down into the 3, down into the 10 for a spare, and needs it a lot more.
Pat just seems to be throwing the ball harder and harder each week.
Ooh, crowd, vicious. Missed. Gave him a real big ooh there when he missed that one. That's one of the few legitimate spare leaves that Pat has missed over the last 3 weeks.
Pat will get his third straight 400 unless he completely falls apart here in the last 3 boxes.
Oh, nice shot.
Fall apart, no chance.
Elected to go inside, head pin. Ball goes down, clears out the 4-7.
That was pretty.
You see the results. That's a nice shot.
15th mark for Pat Pay. John Burke has 10, but they're all spares.
Looks like Pat Pay will be going on to face Mike Brutzis next week. And on paper, I would say that should be a high-scoring match. You never can tell, but the tail of the tape would say that it should be.
Be a mandatory defense for Pat Pay. As he will pick up his 3rd win in a row here today and run his overall record here on Stars and Strikes to 6-1.
Still can't buy a strike. 4-7 with the 9, piece of wood in behind the 4 and 7. Well, just not meant to be for John today.
The 10, a 109, and a 355. And now Pat Pay. Once again, second time in 3 weeks, Pat has saved his best string for last. This triple score will probably fall in between the 416 of 2 weeks ago and the 446 of last week. Ooh, almost.
Didn't miss that by very much. Just missed cutting that 3-pin into the 4 and 7, but that's what he's trying to do. 157.
And a 3-string total of 418 for Pat Pay. John Burke with the 355. There's the story. Pat Pay makes it 3 in a row, and we'll be back to shoot for $170 in the bonus ball contest and talk to both bowlers after these messages. Back at Sandy's for Candlepin, Stars and Strikes, and the Pat Pay show continues.
Yeah, it certainly does. 3 400s in a row. He's going to be a tough man to beat. I said last week that he's the one to beat in the ladder, and next week it goes against Mike Brutzis. It should be another high-scoring match, but he's going to be awful, awful tough.
Well, I guess right now it's time to bring up the latest victim, John Burke. Come on up. John with a 355 on the match today, and you won't walk away empty-handed. You have a check here for $75 and Jim Fairhurst's book and a copy of, or rather a runner-up plaque from the N&R Trophy Company in Winchendon. Congratulations for getting here. I know it didn't turn out probably as well as you wanted, but first appearance and things just weren't breaking your way, really.
It's tough just getting here,
Yeah.
you know. And, you know, some days you bite the bullet and some days the bullet bites you, you know, and I just got bit.
And you had some marks. You had, I believe it was a total of 11 marks, and but yet all of them were spares, and things just really didn't happen in clusters for you.
Yeah, Pat's tough. Pat's a good bowler. He's good. You know, he's throwing a good ball, and, you know, when you start throwing 400s week after week, you know, it's, you know you're in trouble.
Well, we're happy to have you here for your first appearance, John, and we hope to see you again real soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dan.
John Burke from Newmarket, and our runner-up this afternoon. And now over on lane 31 we'll go Pat Pay for the bonus ball. And once again, we're going to try for a winner. $170. And it's a 5. And come on over, Pat. And yeah, he's in a slump, isn't he? Just a 5 this time. And there's the card. And it is not a match for Barbara Pantaletis or Pantalitis from Somersworth. How about that? Do you know Barbara by any chance? But it's a 9, unfortunately, Barbara's guess. And so Barbara will receive a TV50 NHCBA desk pen as a consolation prize. And, yeah, we'll add another $10 and we'll go up to $180 next week. Why don't you slide right in here close, Pat, so everybody can see you. That's 3 in a row. I guess you don't want to change anything at this point.
All right now, going good. I'm ready to go.
Just, I guess when you get to this point, you're really just almost not even thinking about it. It's almost like kind of an unconscious effort.
We just keep rolling the ball and hope it stays where it's going, that's all.
Hope good things continue to happen, right?
All right.
Next week, Mike Brutzis will be coming by, and things get tougher, of course, as you go up the ladder, and Mike is a tough bowler.
Oh, he's very tough.
We'll be looking forward to that one, so we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Pat Pay making it 3 in a row here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. It's been a long time, Dan, since we had somebody go all the way through the ladder undefeated coming up from that first match, but Pat is 3/5 of the way there now. And as we get a look at the ladder, Mike Brutzis, our number 2 seed, comes in next week.
Yeah, Mike's been bowling real well last several months, so he's going to be a tough opponent for Pat. But Pat's just, he's got so much confidence right now. Throwing the 400s, he's throwing nice and easy, and the thing he's got to worry about is just keep this, whatever got you there is going to keep you there, and he's just got to do the same things he's been doing these last three weeks, and if he does, he's going to be tough to beat.
And of course, the survivor of that match next week will stay on for the ladder championship match in 2 weeks against Bill Gover Jr. And another reminder, too, that that ladder championship match 2 weeks from today, Candlepin Stars and Strikes for that day only, January 18th, will be on at 11 a.m. instead of 12 noon. So you might want to jot that down. Make sure you don't miss us. The ladder championship, that's 2 weeks from today. So until next Sunday at 12 noon, when Pat Pay will go for his 4th win in a row against Mike Brutzis. For Dan Murphy and the whole TV50 Sports crew, bye-bye, everybody.